So you're getting $2,000 in, or 10% or whatever, but you still have to pay your repair, you have to pay the electricity, and
In all our years, we've never made money at the concession stand. We've tried and we've cut down, you know, we try to provide a reasonable price to our residents, and we've never made money. The lowest we got was 3 years ago, it was, I think, $5,000 was as low as we got, the best we could do. This is not our business. This is Sam's business. This is what he does. He's a caterer, and he has a bunch of different cities that he works with. So if there's a tournament and he buys a bunch of stuff and it rains out, he's not stuck with it. He's got plenty of places to go to get rid of that stuff. Going on that, with tournaments, he has a food truck that he can bring in and kind of kick it up a notch. Things that maybe we weren't able to do. It's just, it's his specialty. It's what he does. You know, it'll give us more time to focus on recreation and improving our product and increasing what we offer.
okay, thanks.
Mrs. Sabetta, did you have something to say?
Yes, I was just going to ask if you thought that this is improving our product by hiring somebody to take this over to serve, you know, what you think the city would need serving that we're not providing at the moment.
Absolutely. I think that he can do a better job. That's his right down his alley. You know, for us, it's something that we do in our season, but our focus is on recreation, all the activities that are going on in the park. This is what he does for a living. He's a caterer. He does this for many cities, and it's just, I guess it just makes sense. He's good at customer service. He knows how to service our people, in our parks. He knows what they want. He gives them good food. Sometimes for us, you know, we got a lot going on, and it's kind of one of those things that we're doing on the side. And I just think he can do a better job at his business and let us do a better job at our business.
Are there many times that you're stuck doing the work that maybe an employee doesn't show up?
Well, you know,
Over order?
you know, in this money, we talk about the loss that we take. There's a lot that doesn't go into that, doesn't go into the coordinating of all this that goes on for my department, whether it's myself and Nick and Patty, and there's a lot that goes on, especially when tournaments come up. We have to be, you know, have our ducks in a row and be ready to go. And that's not on that finance report. That's kind of just falls in that gray matter, you know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. If there's any questions, we'll bring you up when we get to that agenda item. Anyone else? Mr. Carr, you're last.
Thank you, Madam President. My name is Brian Carr. I'm here on behalf of Panini's of Mayfield. My office address is 1392 Som Center Road, Mayfield Heights. A couple of things I have here. I understand there will be more discussion in the motion portion of the meeting. But I have two things that I want to pass out, and I'll hand them to the clerk. The first is in relation to I'm sure you've all read the minutes of the Planning Commission meeting, and so you understand that the Planning Commission has approved a preliminary and final plan with some contingencies. There are two contingencies. The first thing I'm going to have the clerk pass out to you is the written affirmation, if you will, of the landlord that he is going to be complying with these two contingencies. I'll hand this to the clerk to have her pass these out to you. The second item that I have is a letter of approval, not that one's needed, from Charter One Bank. There was one question at the Planning Commission meeting that had to do with, I believe, a setback issue. I believe, and I'm here today with the applicants, Mr. Fred DiTomaso and Anthony DiTomaso from Panini's, as well as the architect, Don Plunkett, who can answer more specific or detailed questions about the plan itself in terms of setbacks and area issues, things of that nature, but I will let the council know, in the event there's no further questions at the appropriate time, that the setback issue was addressed to the planning commission's satisfaction at that meeting, but to verify that, the architect is here today to give you whatever information you need. With that being said, a couple of comments that I have, going back to the council members' commentary at the building committee meeting, or portion of the meeting today. I too was at the planning commission meeting and gave a presentation. And I can tell you that the planning commission meeting was not a speech given by myself or my clients. I did not direct the meeting, I did not control the meeting, and nor did my clients. What occurred was a thoughtful, detailed discussion between your commission members, myself, and the applicants, who are business owners in this community. The commission asked many questions, and they were all answered. The reason that I took a little bit of time in giving a presentation was to illustrate to the commission members that for many years, my clients have been working hand in hand with the city in obtaining all permits, all approvals, everything that they've needed. I took a little bit of time in my presentation at the planning commission meeting because I thought it was important to illustrate to the commission that from 2006 up until the present time, my clients have worked with the police department, the fire department, BZA when needed, the planning commission, and the engineer to verify and satisfy the city and its departments that its plan was appropriate and fell within the guidelines of the city and that there were no concerns. At every stage, my clients have obtained the necessary written approvals from police, traffic, fire, etc. So while I may have been a little verbose at the planning commission meeting, it was not because I was directing it or that I was controlling it. It's because I've got a little bit of experience here in the city, and I understand that you need to work with the city and not dictate parameters to the city. And that was my point at the planning commission. Second is the mayor at that planning commission meeting had his own comments, his own concerns, his own questions, and they were answered. Not for 1 second was any planning commission member a minion or subservient to the mayor or the mayor's vote. In the experience that I've had in the city as a law clerk or assistant to the law director or what have you, there has never been an issue, a problem, a concern with the mayor voting on planning commission, going back to 1993. This council has various departments and various other entities that it looks to, that it delegates to, that it relies upon for input, questions, and approvals. Going back, police department, fire department, engineer, and various committees, commissions, and boards, i.e. the planning commission. That's what you do, is you delegate to people that you trust and people that you confide in and rely upon the decision-making authority. And that's what my clients have, with no issue and no problem, worked hand in hand with. Fire, police, etc. So I believe that that planning commission meeting was a good meeting. There was no opposition that I heard from anybody in the public, what have you. My clients stand ready, willing, and able, more ready to get their plan approved and in place so that it could be something beneficial to the city and that will bring business into the city. That's what this is all about. If there's any questions of the architect, like I said, he is here. My clients are here. Unless there are any questions right now, I'm sure some other questions may come up later on in the meeting. So I appreciate the time at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. Is there anyone else this evening that would like to be heard? It is now 7:49, and we will close the public portion. We will now move on to resolutions, and we'll begin with Resolution 2015-8. Mr. Schmidlin.
I believe before we introduce this resolution, there's going to be an amendment. Is that correct, Mr. Mercurio?
That's correct. I
Go
would
ahead,
like
sir.
to make a motion to amend.
Go ahead, sir, so proceed.
According to the current resolution, it's just asking for a variance to permit one 8-inch unleaded gasoline price sign. And as I look at the BZA meeting minutes, this was also contingent upon there being only one additional 5-inch diesel price sign upon that same sign. So I believe that needs to be added to the resolution. So the actual variance request is for one 8-inch line and one 5-inch line.
I believe that's just strictly a typo or a grammatical or clerical error, so I think it's appropriate for you to make a motion to amend to be consistent with what we previously agreed to.
I would like to make a motion to amend.
A second? Moved by Mr. Monaco. Roll call on the motion to amend.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mr. Mercurio?
Yes.
Mr. DeJohn?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes,
Mr. Monaco?
Yes.
Mr. Sharia?
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi?
Yes. Now I believe we have to move to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
Okay, so is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mercurio, seconded by Mrs. Sabetta. Roll call on the motion to suspend.
Mr. DeJohn?
Yes.
Mr. Sharia?
Yes.
Mr. Monaco?
Yes.
Mr. Mercurio?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
yes,
Mrs. Tressi?
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Monaco, seconded by Mr. Mercurio. Will we have more discussion?
The only thing really I have to add, this was a unanimous approval by the BZA. I think the applicant did a nice job of explaining. So really nothing more to add.
Questions? Will we do a roll call on the,
Go ahead and announce the ordinance.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
2015-8, a resolution confirming the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights and granting to Max Convenience Stores LLC, DBA Circle K, number 5701, 6665 Mayfield Road, a variance to permit, this says 1 8-inch, but as recently amended by Mr. Mercurio, unleaded gasoline price sign upon the existing ground sign on the property, Cuyahoga County permit parcel number 862-15-024.
Do I have a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mano, seconded by Mr. Monaco. Roll call on,
That's not part
No,
of it.
sir, that's not part of this proceeding. But you can't go back on your promise.
okay, so now roll call on the motion to approve as amended.
Mr. Monaco?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
yes,
Mr. Sharia?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mr. DeJohn?
Yes.
Mr. Mercurio?
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi?
Yes. Resolution 2015-8 has been approved as amended. We will now move on to Resolution 2015-9. Mr. Schmidlin.
Resolution 2015-9, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Sandburger DBA 32 Degrees Food for concessionaire services during the 2015 baseball season and pool season and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to suspend the rules? Moved by Mrs. Sabetta, seconded by Mr. Mano. Roll call on the motion to suspend.
Mr. Mercurio?
Yes.
Mr. Monaco?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
yes,
Mr. DeJohn?
Yes.
Mr. Sharia?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi?
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Mr. Mercurio, seconded by Mr. Mano. Again, we heard from our Recreation Director, Sean Ward. Are there any other questions or comments? I know that when I received my package and I received this contract, Mr. Ward, I went online and I went to Mentor and some of the other cities that Mr. Berger services, and I had a number of questions. And then I made a few phone calls today, and I spoke with Julie David from the city of Lyndhurst, who said it has just been a wonderful experience having Mr. Berger in her city. It's seamless, and it's made their life in Lyndhurst so much easier. So I will dispense with my 20 questions because she made me feel very confident that this gentleman could do a good job. Mr. Monaco.
I just have a comment. There's no question that Mr. Berger is going to do a phenomenal job for the city. However, I feel bad that 7 seasonal employees are going to be losing their job, and there is also some other costs involved that I don't think that the city is really going to make money on this year. So.
Thank you, Mr. Monaco. Roll call on the motion to approve.
Mr. Sharia?
Yes.
Mr. DeJohn?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mr. Mercurio?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes,
Mr. Monaco?
Nope.
Mrs. Teresi?
Yes, Resolution 2015-9 has been approved. We have no ordinances this evening, so we will move on to motions. And Mr. Schmidlin.
Item number 10, motions to confirm the decision of the Planning Commission approving a preliminary/final site plan for Panini's at 6289 Mayfield Road for a revised patio design including bocce courts, contingent on the relocation of the cut-through near the back to a safer, more viable location, placing speed bumps on the main aisle, and confirming that the front setback is at least 120 feet.
Okay. All in favor of this motion? Oh, we need a motion to, I'm so sorry. We need a motion to approve. Mr. DeJohn, were you going to say something?
Yes, thank you, Madam President.
I was. Motion. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Mercurio. Seconded by Mr. Monaco, I'm sorry. Now we'll have discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. I voted no on this motion, and first and foremost, the reason why I voted no was this is in the wrong zoning district. Panini's is located in a U4 zoning district and not a U4A. This is the reason that the Board of Zoning Appeals denied this application in November 2004, and the reason why the BZA's decision was upheld by this council and approved unanimously by this council on November 24th, 2014. In addition, the drawings that were submitted with this application are not correctly dimensioned. Consequently, none of the measurements add up. Drawing number SK3, the partial west elevation drawing, does not show any bocce courts on it. It shows a new patio. On drawing SK1, SK2, and SK3, there's no seal on these plans from the architect. Consequently, I'm questioning the legitimacy of these plans. With regards to the setback, as we've indicated, the plan indicates 90 feet when it should be 120 feet. I'd like to see a plan that shows the proper setback with an architect's seal on it. According to the way the plans now read, I do not believe that a fire truck can fit through the east side of the building. I do not believe a delivery truck can fit through the east side of the building. And I don't believe a garbage truck can fit through the east side of the building. In addition, the trash dumpsters dumpsters and also the grease dumpsters need to be in a masonry enclosure. Finally, and I'll say this again, the bocce courts are not accessory use to this business for many reasons. I'm making a motion to table this application so that we can see the official plans with the architect, and so we can further study the issues mentioned.
I will second that motion, Madam Chairman, and call for the vote.
Roll call on the motion to table. We already have a motion to table, and we have a first and a second. Lisa, call for the roll.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mr. Mercurio?
Yes.
Mr. Monaco?
Nope.
Mr. Sharia?
No.
Mr. DeJohn?
Yes.
Mrs. Teresi?
Yes. This motion has been tabled. Now we'll move on to new business and comments from council. Are there any comments or new business to address?
Mr. Chairman, I have
Yes.
a comment. Actually, more of a question for the mayor. In lieu of the new convention coming up next year and all the hoopla that's going on around it, and you know the cities are kind of lining up to make themselves give themselves exposure and possibly gaining some of the business that's been brought to the area. I am told that as many as 40,000 new visitors are going to be visiting our city. I think some of them are starting moving in as early as maybe next October. I think that's when the first 40 people from the delegation are going to come in here and start kind of outlining what the process is going to be. In my opinion, downtown cannot host all the, cannot house all the people who are going to be coming in, and I'm told that they may have to go as far as Summit County. I'd just like to ask the mayor and council, what can we do as a city to make ourselves more visible, to help our businesses, and to be recognized. I see what Beechwood is doing. They're already on the news. Avon Lake, even small villages, Woodmere, are hiring some people to, some companies to kind of promote them. And I'd just like to know if anything has been done, and or if we're going to do something in the future. Thank you.
Mayor?
Madam President? Yes, I'm meeting with county representatives. They kind of want to give us a feeling for what's to come and what can be done. And also economic development side of it. Lorna Zeller is also involved in the discussion, so we are promoting ourselves and making sure that we are seen to the Convention Bureau.
Any other comments? New business, Mr. DeJohn, you look, okay. I do have something I want to share. I had mentioned that I was going to reach out to 2 different planners, and I have information from both planners. Mr. Majewski just sent his stuff today, so I have his proposal and some of his comments, and I have resume and information from Mr. Perry as well. So I'm going to pass out a copy of each to each council member, and you can review it, and we will work with Lisa to set up a committee of the whole and address the issues that we wanted to talk about with the planners. It's really not time for discussion, actually.
Okay.
It's highly unusual, but
Yes.
if someone wants to make a motion to reopen the public portion, that's up to council.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to reopen the public portion.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Mr. Sharia. Okay. Mr. Carr?
Well, let's do a
We have to do a
let's
roll
let's
call.
do a roll call, please.
Lisa, I'm sorry, we need a roll call.
Okay. Mr. Mano?
No.
Mr. Mercurio?
Yes.
Mr. DeJohn?
No.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mr. Monaco?
Yes.
Mr. Sharia?
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi?
No.
4 to 3.
Reopen for another reasonable time.
Oh, it'll be a reasonable time. Given the fact that Planning Commission, which is the commission that considers and opines on all of the issues that were raised by Mr. DeJohn, and did not have an issue with it, given the fact that the drawings were approved by the Planning Commission, and that Mr. DeJohn's issues, the fire, the garbage, and the driveway were all issues that were validated by the Planning Commission and not raised at that commission meeting. My confusion for my client is to advise him where these additional answers are going to be presented. Where does the council think that these answers are going to be presented? Do we have to go back to the Planning Commission because we already have a 3-to-1 approval? So while it's highly unusual to reopen the public portion, tabling this motion for the comments that Mr. DeJohn made are equally as unusual. So I need a little direction so that I can advise your business owners what they need to do, since they've already complied with all of the rules and regulations and approvals by the Planning Commission.
Well, apparently, Mr. DeJohn had some valid points because through roll call, you can see that it was tabled by many of council.
Well, I didn't get a chance to respond to those. That's the problem, is I didn't get a chance to respond to those points that were made.
Madam President.
Yes, Mr. DeJohn.
Mr. Carr, these plans do not have an architectural seal on it. The dimensions do not add up. None of the dimensions on these plans add up. So how can we make a vote on something that is not accurate?
Okay, first of all, there's no requirement that the plans be stamped or sealed or whatever, but I believe they were. The Planning Commission certainly did not make that comment. Number two is, all the points that you're raising, whether it's garbage, room for the garbage truck to get in, or a fire truck, we have the fire department approval, so I'm not sure where that comment or that concern came up. You certainly didn't raise it a week ago. You didn't raise any of these points a week ago. That's why I'm a little confused as to what's going on right now.
I did raise about the setback.
That was answered.
And when I took
And I have
these,
the architect here to confirm that.
Come off.
Okay,
Well-
Mr. Carr,
Cut 'em off.
well, I'm not cutting anybody off, I'm just putting an end to this now. I think to answer your question, the appropriate time to answer this is when the resolution is being voted upon. Unfortunately, or
It's a
maybe,
motion.
or maybe fortunately, it's going to come up again after it's been tabled. And I don't know what the councilmen are thinking, but they want more time to think about it. And perhaps it works out as a benefit to your clients, but right now, we just opened it up very unusually for more public comment, and I think it's time to end that. Hopefully, it comes back.
Well, certainly it's gonna come back. It's on the table. But do you have a assumption of where we're going with this? Is it going back to planning?
It's gonna be back on the next agenda. I don't know. Maybe going back to planning commission is the best thing for your clients. I don't know.
Well, we already have the approval, so there would be
Right.
no need to go back to planning. That's why I'm confused.
But the council's within the right to table the motion. I completely understand your frustration, believe me. I've been in your shoes more than once. But right now, the procedure is to terminate this. We gave you, your clients are being very adequately represented, and hopefully it comes back, and it will come back.
Okay, thank you for opening the public portion. I will just leave the council with this rhetorical question. Why would a sitting council person, while this motion is pending in the last number of days, call a neighboring business, and by that I mean Gaetano's Restaurant, and try to convince that business owner to come here and speak out against it? Is that the charge of a council person in the city of Mayfield Heights? I don't think so.
We're now going to conclude the public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carr. Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Mano, seconded by Mr. Mercurio. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion has been approved, and we are in adjournment.